Hello everybody, welcome back to Feldy, Farming Simulator 11, map made by Farmer Yip. We're standing kind of over in a different area. I'm over kind of on the far northern end of the map, over here where we can hear hogs grunting that we don't even own yet, so I don't know why they're grunting. One of those sounds embedded in the map. I have our windrower ready here. I initially had it over here ready to harvest or to cut the red clover that we have over here, and I think we're going to use this field for our feed stuff when we ultimately get it up there to our sheep. So at some point I'm going to be back here windrowing this, and I believe, no, that goes into there. I come to find out this map allows for other types of bales in addition to the standard ones, that we're used to, namely the hay bale and straw bale. I mean, all of us know about those. The straw bale comes, when you harvest a cereal grain and you pick up what's left over, turn it into a bale. And the hay bale, of course, comes when you cut grass and you ted it and bale it up. But this one offers a few other kinds of bales. You can bale up the peas, you can bale the red clover, and you can also bale the OSR. Now, I think the OSR we'd like to combine versus, unless the OSR drops a windrow behind the combine, we may want to try to bale that up. But I know the OSR you can windrow, and then with a special header for the combine, we can combine it rather than just bale it. But I'm hauling this back over here because, as you may recall, we have a pea field clear on the far side, and since I don't know that we're going to use it for anything really, we could use it for feed stuff for our sheep, but we're not in a position yet to be able to work with our sheep, so I think what I'm going to do instead is bale it. And we got a little bit of a drive ahead of us, so I'm going to come over here and turn it loose and start windrowing. Oh, let me check my fuel. Okay, I got plenty of fuel. And fortunately, so far, my header is remaining on this trailer. I don't have a good working relationship with header trailer, shall we say. So, but I'm thankful it's remaining on at the moment and staying put. So we got a little bit of backtracking to do, kind of coming over the roads of Feldy here, going by some fields we've already harvested. And there's something else I want to try on this particular windrower too. It's rather interesting to have a windrower that is hireable, and I think it's because of the way they set up this windrower as a mod. It's actually a combine, and so we can't use it on the grass. We can use it on the peas, on the OSR, and on the red clover. That's just kind of the way it's set up. And those crops then were set up accordingly in the map, with a script as they were registered to kick off the windrow. So I mention all that because just to say we can't use this particular windrower to cut grass or to cut hay, but it's still kind of interesting to see a windrower type mod that is hireable. I think in this version of the game, in this earlier version, Farming Sim 11, it didn't have the ability yet to hire mowers. That was something the player had to do on their own. And given that this is a type of mower, I just thought it was kind of interesting that it's hireable. I think we'll cut across this field here since it's already harvested. And that was a doozy to harvest, by the way, all these sugar beets in here. glad that that's done. It's quite tedious with that tiny little harvester that we have. And don't get me wrong, I'm not complaining. I'm just, goodness, I mean, we didn't even have root crops in the base game back then. You know, I'm just exploring all the options that we have here. Let me pull this ahead a little bit. I'll maybe drop the trailer here. And let me see. Shift Q, detach trailer. Let me see if that is enough to detach the header from the trailer. There's something else I did with this particular mod as I was tinkering with it here the other day. You'll know I've had some episodes. There we go. Remember the old days, Farm Sim 09, when you could sometimes back up to a plow, and if it wasn't sitting quite right, you know, you would try to hook it up to the back, and all of a sudden your tractor and implement were flying, you know, up to the stratosphere. Okay, so I actually put auto combine functionality on this thing because, well, it's a combine, and so I wanted to give it a try in the peas. And what this is going to end up doing is, rather than back and forth, it's going to go round and round. Now, admittedly, when you're picking up crop with a baler in this case, you know, we don't have a baler yet, but we're going to get one. Admittedly, back and forth might be a little bit easier, so, but we'll see. We'll just turn this loose. We'll see what it does, but first we have to do a little bit of setup. So let me try my keys here to get the header all set up. It's a little bit far up ahead of it, so I'll just make sure it looks just a little. Be wide enough. It's kind of ticklish. Yep, that'll work. Now I want to make sure I have the appropriate crop. Oops, not that one. I want to go to oats, rye. Yeah, some of these we don't even have on the map. So it's just however it works, we have to make sure there it is. And this is something else I had to open. I don't want to bore anybody with those details, but I had to open the script and add several items so that it could handle peas. And let's see, did it get all of them? Let me just cycle through a couple more. Yeah, rice, cotton, yellow beans, green, OSR. Oh, yeah, I want to be careful. I was on the wrong peas. It was a singular P, but this here, you have to make sure it's spelled. The exactitude required by the Lua is incredible. It has to be dead on or it isn't going to work. So, okay, good. I'm glad I cycled forward a little bit, or this wasn't going to work. So here's peas, red clover, and OSR that I added in here. So we have it sitting on peas. Let's see. I want to change it to no. Let me see here. Left. Okay, so left orientation, and I believe that's it. Let me just move it just a little bit forward, and we're gonna let her rip. I'm going to take it off of that. All right. Okay, folks, this is fantastic. You know, back in this day, we just didn't have anything that would go around the field versus back and forth. And so some of you that maybe have watched some of my earlier episodes, you've noticed maybe that I've always taken a trip around the field first, whether it's a combine or whatnot. And so here now, this guy is cycling around the field like a good fella. So I'm thinking I can turn him loose and we can go get ourselves a baler. So I'm gonna hop out. We'll let him go. Actually, let's check our log real quick. Yeah, I don't see anything popping as an error. Kind of curious if he shows any. No, he doesn't show up as anything special on the map, but that's okay. All right, let's hop out. Oh, dead silence. That's interesting. That's something maybe in the mod that needs to be fixed. We should still be able to hear it, but we're not. Anyway, we got a little bit of silence. And if we hop in here, let me go to mods. We have 63,000 of capital. Let's go look again and check out our Yip baler. Oh, and here it is right here. Red clover, peas, OSR, and standard crops. I guess it said it in here all along. So, well, we can purchase the auto stacker. I don't want to do any baling without the auto stacker. It's just too hard to handle them in here. So I'm going to buy that. But in order to get the rest, I'm going to need to borrow. So, and I'm going to need to borrow, let's see here, what is it, at 80,000? That sound about right. So let's come in here. Let's just borrow a little bit on my handy dandy bank. Yeah, I think that'll do. And fortunately, the interest rate looks like it dropped to 5%, so I'm thankful for that. So we'll hop back in here and take our cash. And folks, we are gonna get ourselves the Yip baler. Boom. Back. Okay. Now while he's going, cycle back to. All right. Look at that. Well, I don't know who it was that invented the autopilot mod, but well done. That's terrific. And I'd be curious again, asking if anybody has dabbled with this mod before or attempted to install it. I gotta say it was really pretty easy to install. Just took a little time and attention to detail and a little bit of troubleshooting. But I'm real pleased, and it's working exactly how you'd want it to. Maybe I got a little bit more overlap than it should have. Anywho, well done. All right, I'm gonna go find a tractor. Oh, and speaking of tractor, this guy here, we need to have, let me get him lined up. We really need to have him going on this. I'm going to delete his course, and we'll get him hired and keep him working for us, tilling up the soil so we can come in and replant. And this, you may recall, was a potato field, steeper than all get out. So I don't think I'll be putting potatoes in here anymore. Probably a cereal grain. But, alright, keep working there, bud. I have one other tractor somewhere. Oh, I thought I did. Oh, I guess I'm going through it a different order. Here we go. Alright, now maybe I'll just back up. I initially thought I'd be over here combining these fields. I think instead I'm gonna head kind of, whoop. Can't even drive. These hills are crazy. So I'm gonna head down here. I'm gonna drop the trailer off. Maybe I'll get a little sauce while I'm here. And I'm gonna go pick up our very new baler. I'll drop the trailer kind of over here about where I have the root crop harvester, adding to our machinery contingent. You know, maybe I should be parking this down in the shed, keeping it out of the weather, but I don't know. This stuff, buying it so-called brand new, it looks pretty weather-beaten already if you ask me. And this baler, by the way, seemed to have some other things going on with it. It had a couple scripts in it. I was just looking at it a little bit ago before coming in game, and so there was something in there where it was called a rope breaker, and I don't know if it's meaning like ropes on the bales would break and it would disable the baler for a little bit. So yeah, this may be interesting to see kind of how it works. I'm just going to open her up on the way here, there, and I don't know if that gives me any other. Okay, lowering the pickup and turning it on. folks, we are in the baling business. We're also in debt. So once again, we're kind of on mission number 2, and mission number 2 is far more difficult than mission number 1, or not necessarily more difficult. The problem is we don't have everything we need in order to fulfill it. We have part of it, I need to get a Bowser to haul some biofuel and pump some water. That part would be easy, but the part I don't have is the ability to harvest feed stuff. And so I'm trying to earn some money, and feed stuff, that's exactly what we have on the ground ahead of us. But I'm gonna bale it here. Let me just head on up into here and see if it, aha, it is taking it. All right. Clunka, clunka, making baler type noises, filling it up. I don't know if it would, I think it would let me go faster. Trouble is I know I'm gonna run into the back of my swather up here. I'm kind of curious to see how many bales come out, and this is, oopsie, I better go pick that up. No crop wasted when we're around here. I also was doing a little bit of looking in some of the Lewis scripts to try to discern how these bales are priced. In the newer versions of the game, each different type of crop that generates a bale, you can give it a different pricing scheme, I think, when you bale it or when you otherwise sell the windrow that it produces. And this one here, back in Farm Sim 11, it's a little bit different. I think in each type of bale, you can specify what value it has. But I noticed when I opened some of these up that Farmer Yip didn't do that. So in other words, one of these bales, this is treated as straw. So it's the same value as a straw bale, and really it's the same value as a hay bale, when it comes right down to it. Unless it is specified in the bale's file and its attributes, then the Lua code assumes a couple things. If it's a round bale, I think it'll make it worth $500 a piece. And this gets further modified later, when you go to sell it, depending on the difficulty level. And we're playing on hard here. So when I go to sell these, I'm not going to get full price. And the square bales, I believe, were set up to be $200 a piece. And so that's going to be $200 as reduced. Oh, looks like I was going too fast over that spot. That's going to be $200 as reduced by whatever the difficulty level makes it. And I like that it's cranking out the bales. I just wish there were more of them. And we could cheat. We could go into the mod. I know there's bale scales in there where you can make it crank them out like it's, having a, well, never mind. Like it's having some trouble. But actually, let me try something. Once I get done, will it let me, I don't think it does. I don't think there's anything in here that lets me kick out the bales that are stuck in there. So part of the first round, until we got up to the hill over there, was just filling up our baler. And so we're only going to be able to get whatever it actually puts down on the feed build. And you know what? That's okay. I'm just tickled that we have a means to, because otherwise, if these peas would sit here and we'd have to use them on food stuff, use them up there on our sheep, and like I was mentioning before, we kind of have other crop over there that we can use on the sheep. It's nice to know we can bale these up and get some money for them. The thing that I wasn't able to determine or able to see really was, just how much, when a crop is registered in the map in this version, you tell it whether it has a windrow or not. So peas has a windrow. And matter of fact, that's really the only thing we can do with peas is turn it into a windrow with how Farmer Yip has set this up. But what I couldn't see was just how much windrow. And again, in newer versions of the game, this is something you can specify as to how much windrow each crop produces. And if you have a particular crop that isn't heavy on the foliage, then you can make it so it doesn't put out much of a windrow. And if there are others that have, a much more robust set of foliage, you can get it to crank out a lot more. Well, in this version of the game, we just don't have the ability to do that. So, and I was just noticing, when the combine lays down a windrow, it's in the Lua algorithms. It tells it how much it's allowed to put on there, and then there's a maximum, where it caps how much is able to be put down. I think it's a level of 3. And I have no idea what level we're at here. But all that to say, I know later versions of the game were simply quite a bit more robust in terms of how much would be put down. And where you see the difference on that is like right here, where this guy is he's gonna windrow a very skinny strip, but I bet money that he puts down a windrow that's exactly the same size as it was before. In real life that'd be a skinny windrow, but in here, yep, see, look at that, it's identical to the size of everything else. So you know what, he's probably going to get confused. Actually, I'm kind of curious, what does he do when he's done? I don't know that I've ever finished a field before. Okay. Maybe he's taking a reflective pause right here. Oh, now what are you doing? Let me turn you off. Well, got a few bales up here, but I am now kind of questioning the wisdom of diving into a baler, but you know what? We're in it for the long haul, right? So we'll eventually pay for our baler. I think in my loan, the loan mod that I made, or the banking mod, I think I can borrow on hard mode up to 100,000, is it? Alright, let's see if I can do this. I purposefully did this part before starting the video when I had it parked way up on the other side. Let me see here. Oh, nope, I didn't want to do that. I wanted to go Shift Q. Or is that what I wanted to do? How do I know that's going to stay on there? I've had it before where it... Oh, there we go. We're going to... Okay, there we go. It has another... See, it always tricks me out. There's the... it's the Q key where you hook up the trailer, and then there's another Q key where apparently you tighten the thing down, lock it. I don't know. Anyway, we have... I think clear up in the northwestern quadrant is where we want to go. And so I may be hanging a... Yes, I think I'll be hanging a left between these fields here to get this moved up here. Turn on down over here. I don't know that I need to follow the road. We'll just kind of cut across the field here because it's already harvested. Head on down this road. You know, someone left a comment on one of my videos recently that they say they wish this was in Farm Sim 22. Hey, you and me both. It's definitely a map worthy of preserving and getting there, and I'm not sure what all it would take. You know, it's one thing, and I know some people that have done this. You know, they take it version to version, and there are some maps that have been through multiple versions. You know, maybe they even started in Farm Sim 09. Oh, there's Feldy on the far hill. That isn't in the original version, by the way. Farmer If didn't put that in there, I did. Alright, see if I can make this corner, turn up the hill, get off the side there. But this doesn't have a very tight turning radius. Turn on the lights so I can see a little better. So I know there's some that take it, you know, say from Farm Sim 09 to Farm Sim 11, and then they update it to Farm Sim 13. I think it's a little bit easier to do it that way. So, you know, I don't know if it'd be, if someone wanted to do that, if they would have to cycle it through all the versions, or if you could literally start with the DEM map. Let me see here. Up in this field, we have red clover here, we have red clover way on the far side, and then in between, I think we have OSR. And something I'm not sure about on the OSR, I know it turns into canola. And you'll recall we need the canola down there to make biofuel. But what I don't know is, can I cut the OSR standing with my existing grain table, or do I have to swath it? And I almost have a feeling that I have to swath it because of some things I saw on the Lua code where it was put in. You know, where it kicks out a windrow when you harvest OSR, but there's no harvestable seed. So I kind of think you have to... Whoa, bucking bronco. So I kind of think it forces the player to maybe windrow it first. Now the thing is, I don't have the pickup header yet. That is another thing I'd need to get. Let me see, where is it in here? Yeah, here it is. The Yip Swath Master. I mean, shoot, that's 95 grand. So, yeah, I could probably easily go in and change the price if I really wanted to cheat. It may be a while before I harvest those fields. Unless I drag the combine over here. I'm not sure I want to, though. It may end up being a waste of time. Anyways, I already have this set up. Let's come in here and change the crop to red clover. And let me get this going. Let me see if it will go just by hitting enter. All right. And this is interesting too, because even though this is a field, you kind of see the texture down here below. This looks exactly like how it looks when you plant grass and then you harvest it. Grass in these earlier versions was treated differently from other types of crops based on kind of how it was layered in here. So, actually, let me turn that off so you don't see those silly arrows. Yeah, it's trying to figure it out a little bit. But it should be able to do it. And you know what? I'm gonna let it go, and we will cycle back to my tractor. Actually, let me check my map. Maybe I just need to go find it and make sure. Aha. Alright, this guy is still faithfully cultivating. Very good. We're going to go to our tractor. We'll leave our combine parked there for a little longer, and we're going to continue baling this up. Actually, there's a whole lot of baling we can do kind of at this juncture. Oh, and you know something? I guess when it comes to baling, you know, I just got done talking about the OSR. I could just go ahead and bale it. You know, right now, I think it's more valuable to us if we combine it, but right now, I can't afford the new header, you know, that it's going to take to harvest it. So, you know, I may maybe just as well go in there and bale it up, and so I can at least earn a little money on it. And as you all just heard, that was, you know, it just doesn't have the, I was hoping, oh, R key, show the HUD. Hey now, what is this? Total bale count. But what does all this mean? Hide HUD. Okay. Well, that's interesting. Okay, 11 bales. That's good to know. Still not very much. Yeah. I was hoping there was a way to kick out the bales that are trapped in here, and I don't know that there is. And maybe it's something if I get real energetic, and I don't know that I will. I can maybe write a script or something to kick those out. You know what? Let me just start in right here. I'm gonna leave off there. Thank you so much for joining me on this episode. Hope you have a wonderful day wherever you're going, and feel free to come back anytime to join me on Feldy. But goodbye for now.